Vicky, thank you very much for now. Let's get the view now of one ISP. Adrian Kennard joins me from Reading. He is the director of Andrews and Arnold Internet Service Provider. Thanks so much for talking to us. If someone was saying something of a similar nature that we know Michael Adebowale said, by using your ISP, would you know about it? Would it be possible to track it? What are the technical obstacles? What's your take on this?
Well, once again, we're seeing the government confusing what they mean by ISP. Facebook aren't an ISP. They are a company, Indeed. They're a content provider, but they're not an internet provider. If someone was using us as an ISP to access Facebook, we could not see what they are posting to and reading on Facebook. It is all encrypted. So we don't want to spy on our customers. We have rules to stop us spying on our customers. And even if we wanted to, even if there was a surveillance order on us to monitor this traffic, we wouldn't see it.
So yes, I mean, yes, you hit on a valid point at the beginning. I mean, yes, it's being used as a blanket term, and of course, Facebook is not an ISP in the way that you are. But in terms of your, well, I was going to say responsibilities. I mean, do you consider that you have a moral obligation, a responsibility, or is it something that you would say is technically just out of your hands?
A lot of what's discussed is technically out of our hands, but there is a huge difference between the surveillance, the security services having a suspect, having evidence to justify a warrant to intercept communications, to have letters opened and so on. And in that case, an ISP obviously has a responsibility to work with the authorities to execute that warrant. But that's very different to blanket surveillance of all of the citizens of the country just in case something's found. Yes, and that's not something that we should do.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yes, so it has to go through the proper channels.
Yes, yes.
And when you make the point, Facebook and other companies that are out there, we know lots and lots of big companies, of course, particularly based in America. I mean, do you take the view that they do have an obligation, a moral responsibility here?
There's a line between privacy and security. If they are saying that they are keeping these messages private between people, then obviously they should do that, unless there's a warrant to say otherwise. But a UK warrant isn't going to apply to a US company. Laws have national boundaries. So it would need international cooperation to make that work. But even then, it has to be proportional. It has to be something justified and with a warrant.
Yes, so your key point is every time it has to come back to specifics. There has to be
Yes.
some form of court order, whatever we call that, depending on which country we're talking about. But there has to be some form of judicial oversight.
Yes, I mean, we've already seen the European Court of Justice say that data retention, the level in Europe was unlawful because it's an invasion of privacy by blanket monitoring people. And I do hope the proposals tomorrow aren't suggesting even more blanket monitoring of everybody just in case, because that wouldn't be proportionate.
You say it wouldn't be proportionate. I wonder whether it's even technically feasible.
Well, in a lot of cases not. The Facebook is an excellent example. We didn't know until recently that it was Facebook in this case, but Facebook have encrypted traffic by default. Even if we were specifically monitoring a suspect, we wouldn't know what they were saying on Facebook.
But talk us through these, but there are triggers, aren't there? Because we have heard that certain accounts were closed down. Now, that's not because a human being has read something and has become alarmed. That is because, am I right in saying that? There are certain trigger words.
It's going to depend. I mean, when you're talking about Facebook, it's not something that as an ISP we'd see or trigger. We don't monitor our customers. We don't filter our customers. We're one of the few ISPs that provide a real internet connection. But when we're talking about Facebook, they have a lot of policies on what they allow to be posted, and they have a lot of ways of trying to track those. So you can't post pictures of nude women on Facebook. They have policies to take that down, and they no doubt have policies covering terrorist activity as well. But that's their choice as a company to implement policies for that, not because there's a law saying they have to.
Yes, very interesting. Adrian Kennard, it's very good of you to talk to us. Thanks very much indeed. Adrian Kennard is the director of Andrews and Arnold ISP there in Reading. Much more on that story, of course, as you would expect, after 5 o'clock. We will just turn our attention to a couple of other stories here before then.